Yep. Good evening, everyone. So last session, I given you overview about how we can handle the authentication. How do we define? We learned about how to use cookies, how we can authenticate by using cookies, route cards, and how do we use the route cards. Now, we need to implement the complete end-to-end integration. That means what was the concept we designed yesterday. So NG, yep. So in this, we implemented a simple login. We are authenticating the routes and allowing access to the routes only when the condition is matching. We used a route guard for electronics and we defined. But now, in order to log in, first user need to register backend and how this entire scene works. Let's see. For that, you need a good knowledge on any server side technology. You need any knowledge on database. You need a server side scripting technology. And you need to learn how to create APIs and services server side. Then you can consume and you can interact with them in the front end. I hope you people have any idea on any backend technologies, databases, backend technology, services. You learned how to create services, web APIs. If no, then you just need to see one example what I showed you, because this is for the people who have a knowledge of any server side integration. We can't show you server side integration without knowledge of server side, right? So what I will do is I will show you one simple concept. Here we will use a simple mean example, mean stack example. Mean stack MongoDB, it is database, and Express is a middleware, and Angular is client side framework, and we will use Node.js. This is server side scripting. So these are the concepts we will use now. First, what we will do, we will create a database. In that we will maintain some data, and we will write server side logic to communicate with the database, get the data, and return the data in the form of JSON. Now what Angular people can do, they can consume and they can interact with the data, right? So here I will use one simple approach means what we need to implement in our project is, here when I select electronics, it will ask me to log in. But in order to log in, first I need to register. And yesterday's login, it is just directly taking the username, but it should verify from the database whether that user is available or not. It should verify from database. That means you should have some database. You should write some server side logic for all this concept. It's a very big concept, and this requires complete knowledge of perfect server side scripting. So if you don't have idea, just follow the example I give to you. That's enough, right? But whenever you learn any server side technology, after you finish learning your services, APIs there, you can implement this concept on that, right? So what we will first do is we will create one database. That means I hope you people know generally we will create first we will work with database. Database, what we will do is you have to download and install MongoDB database. That is the database we will use, because this database completely uses simple JavaScript based queries. Because if you are using Oracle, MySQL like database, you need another language, that is SQL. You need to learn a SQL language for doing any kind of interactions. So here it is a simple JavaScript based technology. You can directly use this database. And let's see, I will show you. I am not teaching you database. I will just show you the simple process that will be helpful for creating a database. Okay. I will give the link here. Actually, this is MongoDB. This is the official MongoDB. Actually, not Atlas. This is the community server you need to download. You download and install this MongoDB community server. This is the download. You can download this MongoDB community server. Right. Actually, I will give you that here. This is the path. From here, you download and install MongoDB database server. Actually, database server you have to download. You can simply install that in your computer, and actually this MSI file, you give a installer. Installer means next. You just follow the steps and finish. Once MongoDB is installed in your computer, what you have to do is, after the MongoDB is installed, MongoDB provides actually Compass. It provides Compass, which is a GUI tool. It is a GUI tool. From this GUI tool, graphic user interface, GUI tool, you can easily create a database. You can easily maintain some data in simple way, right? So once you install MongoDB on your computer, you will find this MongoDB Compass. You see, MongoDB Compass will be in your programs. You have to open this MongoDB Compass. This is actually MongoDB database. So MongoDB Compass will provide a GUI tool. This is MongoDB Compass. And you have to connect to, here you need to create all the databases and all. Actually, what you have to do is, here you need to connect to server, create some database. I will tell you some terms actually. So connect to MongoDB server by using, the URL will be like this: MongoDB:127.0.0.1 so 27017. This is the reference for connecting. That means by using this, you can connect to the MongoDB server. That is the standard IP address everywhere, right? Standard URL. So you go to Compass, it will ask you the URL here. You have to type that here. What is it? MongoDB:127.0.0.1 27017, and you click on connect. it will connect to the MongoDB database. This is MongoDB. Here you have to create one database. Actually, one small concept I will tell you. Suppose you are using Oracle, MySQL, or some other database and MongoDB. What is difference in terminology you will find is Oracle, MySQL, they have database. Here also you will have database. Here also you will have database. In Oracle, MySQL, data is stored in tables. Here you will have collection, no tables. Here we call as collections. There is no table concept here, only collection. And table contains records, and here table contains documents. Usually table contains fields. Here also we call them as fields. Usually table contains joins, and here we contain embedded documents. That is the terminology. But you don't need to go that much in depth until or unless you are learning database. Just database and collection and documents. First, you need to create a database. You need to maintain a collection. In that, add some documents. That's it. That is the basic thing we need to do. So we will create one database. And we will add some tables, some collection, one table, some data. Let's do that. It's simple approach actually. What you do is open the MongoDB Compass. You go to databases category. There will be an option create database. Click the create database button. You enter the database name. Database name I will give as Angular, or I will give ours is shopping. I will give shopping is the database name. You can give any name. I am giving shopping as database name. In that it is asking collection name. That means in that what table you want. I will just give the table name as customers. Customers is the table name. That means customers or users. So that means a customer can register, a customer can log in, and then only he can access the details. That is the concept. That means we need to create a registration and login for customers. So what we are doing, so database name is shopping and collection name is customers. Okay, create database. A database is created. You can see shopping database is created. Open the shopping database. In that there is a customers table. Here tables are called as what? Collections. So what I have done, so login to MongoDB Compass. Okay, after that create new database. You have to create new database, and here database name we just given as shopping, and collection name is table name. It is customers. Now what we will do is in this we will add one customer details. That means go to customers collection, and add a new record. A record is called as what? New document. Document is record. Add one person details. Initially we will put one person details, and later we will add other details through registration form. Through the registration form we will do that. So we will go to the MongoDB, and here this is customers table. Open that customers. In the customers we need to add data. Just you have to select insert document. Remember in MongoDB every record is an JSON file. It is a JSON file. Every record is JSON format, JavaScript object notation. So you know JSON, you are not new. Why majority of the front-end developers use MongoDB. So many features are there. And another one of the key factor here is you don't need to learn any special language for this. Just JavaScript knowledge is enough to handle database. But Oracle, MySQL, you need a good knowledge on SQL, PLSQL. So you need to know so many things. That language is very huge again. Right here, all simple JavaScript based commands. Okay. However, here we will select insert document. It is asking create a JavaScript object. You know what details you want in a customer data. In customer data, what are the details we need? Let's see what are the details we need in customer data. So what are the details? First, I will give user ID. You know JSON means codes. User ID. I will put some sample John_NIT. That is user ID. Okay. After that, we need username. Username is John. That is a username. Okay. And we need password. Password is required for login. I will use John@123 something. And I will use some email. And here John@gmail.com. That's enough. I will give some mobile like this. So, and just we will put some +919876543210 something. Now these are all the details we are having. And remember, the data type for MongoDB is same as JavaScript. That means number, string, boolean, null, undefined, same data types we have. So here I just maintained user details and click on insert. This one record is ready. Right, we are adding one record here and we are configuring. So this is one user related details. That means add new document, and in the document we are using user ID. So some user ID, you can give any user ID, and we are using username. Okay. And some name, and we need a password. And the password, I just given some password, some 11123 something. And we need email and some email, john@gmail.com. And we have some mobile. Okay. All these details are ready. So +919876543210. Okay. These are the details are defined. That is basic data. After you insert this into the database, your database is ready. That means this is a simple approach. You download MongoDB, you will get a GUI tool. Actually, MongoDB people learn commands. By using commands, we can insert, we can read, we can update, we can delete, so many things. Here through GUI tool, you can manage. You don't need to learn anything. So you log in into MongoDB, create a new database, add a new collection, and add some data into it. Now database is ready. Now, can Angular directly communicate with the database? No front-end technology in the world can do it. Right? Then we need server-side. We need server-side API to create. What is the concept of API? You know? Do you have any idea? You need to create server-side API. Actually, API is application programming interface. So API uses distributed computing architecture. It uses distributed computing architecture. Distributed computing architecture means two applications running on two different machines can share information between them. or two applications running on same machine in two different process can share information between them. That is the concept of actually APIs. Application, actual API is distributed architecture. There are so many distributed computing architectures, like there are various distributed computing architectures, distributed computing technologies. Actually, we have like Corba, we have like DCOM, like EJB, like RMI, so like web service, like remoting. All these are different distributed computing technologies. Corba is common object request broken architecture. It is used in more than 15 languages, different. DCOM is distribute component object model. It is used in language like VB, Visual Basic. EJB is used in Java, Enterprise Java Beans. RMI is also used in Java. Web services is known to every technology. Web service is known to every technology. Java, .NET, PHP, Python, everybody knows web service. Remoting is for .NET. .NET uses a concept called remoting. These are all distributed computing technologies. And what is the concept of API? API allows data to reach any platform and any device. That is the concept. API allows data to reach any platform, any device. That means whatever technology, whatever platform, whatever device they are using, we must able to send data there. And that is possible by using APIs, application programming interface. Actually, API uses, generally there are so many techniques, like we have SOAP, we have like REST, we have like JSON. Currently we are using JSON. SOAP, request and response, will be in XML form. REST, request will be in a simple query, response will be in a JSON form, XML form. JSON, request and response both will be in JSON. Now currently everyone is going with this JSON. Earlier XML was very popular. Even today several projects are still using XML, but now we are not preferring that anymore. We are just simply using JSON. You saw NASA APIs, you saw Fake Store API, everything was returning data in JSON. Earlier it was XML few years back, but now we are not much using that XML. Everything is JSON. And very important here is, see, this is a very big concept. It is not a concept to just hear for 5-10 minutes, right? It's a very big concept, because people have to learn this as a developer. So if they are working in server side environment, right? But people who are in the front end, they doesn't need to know about this until or unless they have to work with this, right? So front-end developers just need the URLs. That means get method, what is URL? Post method, what is URL? What is the data to be sent? Only these things front-end developer need to know. So back-end developers are going to design all these for you. They are going to design everything for you. If you are learning any back-end technology, you will learn all this. How to create APIs and all. Now currently, to design API, what we are doing is, so we will use Express and Node.js to create API. We will use Express and Node.js to create API. What this API will do, it will communicate with the database, get the data from the database and sends you to the UI. From your UI, it will collect the data and it will send into the database. It will be in two directional functionality. And again, why Express and Node.js? Because these are all JavaScript based. These are all JavaScript based. Suppose if you have to learn JSP, PHP, .NET, then again you need to learn those languages. PHP you have to learn, Java you have to learn, but anybody can easily handle these Node.js and Express because they are JavaScript based. A person who is good in JavaScript, for him dealing with these server side frameworks is very simple. Just he need to know maximum in real time corporate level training. So Node.js, Express, MongoDB, these are just only 5-6 hours time to learn. Right, in a corporate level companies, we deliver this training to people at corporate level companies just in one weekend. In one weekend, Express, Node.js, they can learn only 1-2 hours maximum to learn this. So the point here is these are all JavaScript based. Now we will see how to create an API now. How do we create an API? For that, you need to set up some basic here. Let's see how to create an API in our project. We will create an API. For that, I will use this workspace. In this workspace, we will create a folder, server. Okay, all the server side logic we will keep here. All the server side logic we will keep here. And to create APIs, you need some basic methods, means libraries. What are the libraries you need? Let's see. So first thing, what you have to do is install the following libraries into your Angular workspace. You use your Angular workspace only. No need to go anywhere outside. You just use your Angular workspace. Just what you have to do, open the terminal. You have to install npm install. You have to install MongoDB, save. This is the library which is required for connecting with MongoDB database. For that, we need MongoDB. We need another npm install Express. Express is required to create API. To create API requests, we need a middleware called Express. Express is to create API. MongoDB is to connect with MongoDB database. Next, you need another one, npm install CORS. CORS is cross-origin resource sharing. Whenever you are interacting with data coming from any another server, CORS issues will come. CORS issue means data coming from across origin, another server will be blocked by our server. So we have to forcibly send the data, and we should not allow the servers to block our data. For that, you need a special library called CORS. Not only that, you can even control by using CORS, like users can only read my data. They cannot post. User can only update. They cannot delete. Such method controls requests you can control by using CORS. What is the advantage of CORS is it can control the requests. That means you can design APIs in such a way that they can only read and they can only insert, but they cannot delete. They cannot update, or they can update, but they cannot delete. They can read, but they cannot insert. All such restrictions we can control. For that, we need a library called CORS. So you install all these libraries first. Let's go to workspace, open our workspace, and open the workspace. This is our workspace location. We need to install some libraries here now. What are the libraries? npm install, what is it? MongoDB, save. Okay. And we need to install Express and CORS. Okay. Now npm install, another one is express, save. So express is a middleware required for creating API. Okay, next npm install, what is it? Course, save. These are all the libraries that we need to set up in our workspace first. Okay, done. Once you've done this, now we need to add server-side logic. So add a new folder into workspace. So by name, I given the name as server. And in that, add a new JavaScript file. You need to just add a JavaScript file because server-side programs in Node.js are written by using JavaScript. Generally, I hope you learned when anybody says what is JavaScript. So you will see people telling JavaScript is a client-side script. That is not. JavaScript is not a client-side script. Don't ever say that JavaScript is client-side script. JavaScript is a language which can be used client-side, server-side, database, animations, everywhere. JavaScript is not a client-side script. JavaScript is a language which is used server-side also, which is used in database also, which is used in animation softwares also. It is a language. Don't ever say that it is a client-side script, right? So JavaScript is not client-side script. It is used server-side also. Because you don't know, you cannot say that it is client-side, right? JavaScript is used client-side with your HTML. That is what you learned. That's why you know it as client-side, but it is not. JavaScript is never a client-side script. It is a language. You can use server-side also. And Node.js uses JavaScript server-side. We are using Node.js JavaScript server-side. So we need to add a JavaScript file. You can give any name. I will give server.js. Okay. Any name you can give, doesn't matter. So I will give the file in server folder. I will add server.js, or yeah, server.js is enough, right? Now in this, we need to write the logic to communicate with the backend database, get the data from the database and send to the client in the form of JSON. That means now you are going to write the logic exactly how NASA people are doing, how Fake Story is doing. That means they have data in their database. You make a request. It is going to return the data in which form? JSON. That is the logic you are going to write now. Let's see how to do that. First, we need to import some libraries. But Node.js is using a require.js library. So what you have to do is how to import library where first we need a library called Mongo client. Mongo client and is equal to require. We have to use the method require. By using require, we have to import a library. How to import MongoDB library? In that there is a class called Mongo client. We have to import this class. Generally in Angular, we use import keyword, import class name from library. Here we have to use the method require. By using require, we are importing this library. This is module. In that module, there is a class called Mongo client. And how to access those class members? We can access by using Mongo client. Okay. Next, you need another express. Require, we have to import express. Okay. Another, we need course. We have to use require and course. These all are libraries we are importing. After importing, now we need to create a server-side API. To create a server-side API, we use app is equal to express. That means now express is going to create a server-side application. This server-side application will manage the request from client. and send the response. Express is going to create a server-side app. This server-side app will handle the request from the client and it will send a response. That means what this app will do is, app will manage requests like get, request like post, request like put, request like delete. It will manage all these requests. So get what is the request? I told you, if you remembered, server side also routing will be there. Server side routing is here. So here we will put slash. So if request is get customers, or we will just put customers, what it should do, it should return all the customers that are present in MongoDB table. That means it should connect with MongoDB, get the data from the customers, and it should return the data. So what we have to do now, we need to write a callback function. Callback function is written, I am writing a arrow technique. It uses request object and response. Now what this response object can do, it can send the response to client. I will just show you first simple response dot write. I'm just showing you. So you requested customer details. Okay, this I'm just writing. Let's finish this. Now our server need to start. App dot listen. Listen means server is listening on some port number. Currently our Angular app is running in 4200. I will use some 3000 port number. Any port number you can give. And we will put a message, console.log server started. Server started, usually it runs on HTTP localhost and port number is 3000 I given. This is a server side app ready. But currently this server side app is having only one request. What is it? Customers. But that is sending only ordinary text. But actually this have to send some JSON data. That I will show you. First, let's start this server. That means open this in integrated terminal. And how to compile JavaScript files. Already you learned in TypeScript. In TypeScript, how to run JavaScript files we learned. We have to use a node compiler, if you remember. Node, what is that file name? Server.js. This you learned already in TypeScript. Now enter, you can see server started. Let's check what is the port number. Localhost, port number is 3000. But at 3000, there is a request called, what is it? Customers. It is going to return that details. It's taking time. It's taking a while. Let's run this. In 3000, we have customers. Okay. Yeah, I'm just using response.write. I will do one thing here because we don't have any data to send. Let's do on this. I will use, I will use response.send. I will use send method. I'll just say you requested, because we don't have any data to write. I will do one thing, requested data. What is that? Customers, customers. Okay, just roughly I will put this. Let's compile. And now it is okay. Customers, enter. You requested customers. It will get that data. That means now in this request, what we have to do, send the customer JSON data. That's what every API was doing. Fake store / products. What it is doing, it is sending all products data in the format of JSON. That means now here we need to write the logic. Let's stop this. Okay. And let's write the logic here. What we need to send, not message. We need to send JSON, the data coming from database. Now what we have to do, we have to connect with MongoDB database. We need to connect with MongoDB database. For that, I am writing small logic here. We see here Mongo client dot connect, and the connection string is actually MongoDB :127.0.0.12017. This is used to connect with MongoDB. And here we are using an error and a client object. And generally, if there is no error, by using this client object, you can access the database present in MongoDB. Any database you can access. So I am creating var database is equal to, by using client object, have a DB method. By using DB, you can access database. What is the database we are having? Shopping is the database we created. Okay. Now in that database, there is a collection called customers. We need to read the data from that customers. So database have a collection. What is the collection name? Collection name is customers. We have to read all the data from customers. Generally in SQL, we will use select star from table. Here we will use simple find. Find uses an empty query. This will return all the records present inside this table. And those records we need to convert to array. Convert into JSON array. And what we have to do, if there is no error, and we need to return all the documents. That means every record it should read and return. So response.send, it should send all the documents. This is the logic we written. That means we are connecting with a database called ShoppingDB. In that we are accessing a table called customers. We are reading all the records and sending the records to client. Okay, let's request this and see now. Let's compile this one more time. Server started. Okay, let's go. And now request this. You will get the JSON data. That's what happening everywhere. That is what happening in a fake store. That is what happening in NASA. All APIs work in this way. So it is connecting with the database, getting the data from the database, and it is returning. Now, without knowing all these, simply people ask, sir, will you teach end-to-end integration? I will teach you, but what you will do? Just like you will listen to it like Christopher Nolan movie. I told you, na? Christopher Nolan movie means Interstellar, Matrix, Inception. very great movies. His movies, his movies are spectacular on screen. That means you watch Interstellar movie on IMAX, you will see like you will be clapping for every scene, whistling for every scene. At the end of the movie, you will ask what is story. His movies are like that. Even space scientists also cannot understand his movies, right? That means asking is very simple. You people ask like how end-to-end integration, that is not for everybody who is not aware of any kind of server-side technology, APIs, services. If you don't know all these, how you will handle, right? That means what is the responsibility of an Angular developer is, Angular developer responsibility is, we are provided with the URLs and they mention that this is get URL. From here, this data is coming. This is post URL. To this, you have to send this data. That is the information given to Angular developer. Now he will use those URLs, get which method, post which method, get what data is coming, post what data we have to send, right? That is not your job of writing APIs. Even you go to Angular interviews also, what they do in Angular practical tests, when you have to face in interviews, they will say that to your email, we will send you some screenshots. You have to design them and send us. And in that screenshots, some data you need to present. Now they will say that the data for this presentation is in our API, use that API. Just like fake store. They will say that we have the APIs for get, post, put and delete. Use those APIs and you can handle those operations. That means from the front end, you have to just create services, and through the services, you need to communicate. From here, what to do, you know. Am I right? From here, what to do, you know, because this is the URL which is returning all customers. Which is returning all customers. Now, what we have to do? We need to read this. Now, tell me how we can allow users to log in. Only the customers which are registered can log in. That means only this person can log in. Others cannot log in. That means only with this user ID password matching, then only he can log in. Otherwise, it should say invalid. It should say invalid. Then what we do? We will ask from where customer data is coming. Then he will give you this URL. Then what you will do in Angular, you will create a service which can fetch the data from this URL, and you will collect the JSON data in the controller. They will verify is username, password matching, then you will implement login. Let's try this now. That means only registered people can log in. That means only this person can log in. Later another person may come, he can also log in, right? We can add multiple details later. We will create a register also. First, let's write the logic for this now. Now let's go to our controller. We have to go to login. Let's go to keep it running. You cannot stop this server. If this server is stopped, data is stopped. Right? In the background, that API should be running. Okay. Now let's go to our Angular services. Where are our Angular services? SRC, app, services, our API data service is there, right? Here we will use another simple method. What is the method? Public. What is the method? Public get customers. Am I right? And it is expecting URL. URL is what? URL is a string type, and we need to create an observable, or you can, if you know directly, you can mention the URL. No need to do all this. That means get customers. It uses an observable, and we know that any type of array is coming. Am I right? Any type of array is coming. So we have to return this dot http dot get. We need to return any type of array, and from where the URL is http :/ localhost : port number 3000. In that, what is the request? Customers. That's our own API now. Right? We are fetching the data from this and we are returning. Am I right? Get customers is ready. Now what I have to do? Let's go to the login page. Let's go to shopper template. In the shopper template, go to login. Where is it? Shopper login. Here we need to get the customer details. That means you see we used set username. Na? Cookie should not set until or unless username and password are correct. Right? Then what we have to do? We need to inject one more service into that. What is it? Private. Another service. What is it? API. It is of type API data service. Okay. We are importing that API data service. Now in that we need to collect all the customers. Let's create one property. So public, I will create customers. Customers is an any type array. Initially it is empty. What should happen? Whenever user clicks on login, we need to get all the customers. We need to load all the customers. We will do one thing here. How to load all the customers and verify? We will write login. On initialization, we can collect all the data. How do we collect the data? This dot, we have to use API dot get customers. Get customers, it will use subscribe. We have to read every data and assign to this dot what? Customers. Into that customers, we need to store the data whatever coming. That is the data collected and stored. Now what we have to do when user clicks on login, we have to verify in that customers that user ID password is present or not. That means we have to collect user details, means it is collecting from text box. Na? Already we are sending the data, am I right? In the HTML, what is this frm login dot value? It is collecting username, it is collecting password. You have to verify this username is matching with user ID and password is matching with the password. When to verify? On login click, we have to verify. How do we do that? We will write a simple condition here. If we need to read for where customer of what are all the customer details? Customers. This dot customers. That means we are reading all customers. One by one, whatever the customer details are there, we are reading all the customers. After that, what we have to do? We have to verify if customer dot user ID is matching with user details. It is matching with user details, that user name. Understood? That means whatever you entered in text box is matching with the user ID. Whatever you entered in text box is this. Is it matching with the user ID present in the database? Remember, this customer's data is coming from database. If it is matching, what should happen? We have to create a cookie. How to create a cookie? This dot cookie dot set. What is the cookie name? Username. Into that, what we need to store? We need to store customer dot user ID. This we need to store. After storing, we need to navigate. This dot router dot navigate. Navigate to which location? It should navigate to electronics. Understood? Otherwise, what should happen? Else, what do you say? It will navigate to that location and we can simply put a break. because we are using a loop now. Otherwise the loop will continue. Okay. Now, if it is not, what should happen? If it is not, it should show some error message saying that invalid username or password. Or you can go a different component you can add, error component. In the error component, you can show invalid username or password. Right? I will do one thing. This dot router dot navigate to a path called, suppose, error. Okay. Or I will say invalid. I will use error. Okay. It will navigate to error, but there is no error component created. I will create one error component. So let's go to the shopper template, ng generate component. What is it? Shopper error. Okay. I'm creating shopper error. Skip this. Okay. Now in the shopper error, I will put a simple message saying that, so here we will put a simple message saying that invalid username or password, and how to navigate back to login. Try again. I will give try again. How to go back to login? We have to use a router link. In the router link, we have to keep what? Login. That means they will go back to login. Here I will put class some text danger. And this you need to put in router module also. Let's go to the routing module. In the routing module, we need to create one more path. What is that path? Here we need to define path. Path is error. Which component should come? The component is shopper error. Shopper error component should come. That is how we need to manage. Now let's see whether the login is working or not. This time we are verifying the data from database, right? Let's check. I will go to user login. So first I click on electronics. It's ask login. I'm entering some John, some password, login. So it should show invalid username, password. Anything problem? Let's see, any some errors are there. Let's check what the errors are here. Course issues are coming. Course issues are nothing but, that means it is not allowing to transport the data. So we haven't used the course. That means server to server data transporting is blocked. We will do one thing that is expected actually. We go to server. We imported course but not using it, right? We have to use the course. App have to use course. Okay, this is important. Otherwise course issues will come. Let's restart the server one more time. That means once you've done this, now it is okay. Now let's run this and see. Let's refresh. Okay, I am entering the username, David, or some password, and login invalid. Who can log in? Who can log in? Only that person who is present in our database can log in. Am I right? He can log in. So try again. So try again is, it is showing error login. Huh? You know the solution for this. Here /login it should use. Am I right? Yeah. Fine. So this is electronics and you entered some wrong details, then invalid, try again, login will come. Let's log in. Who is that user? John_NIT. Let's see. Yeah, John_NIT is user ID. Password is John@123. Here I am using the password John@123 and login, it's success. This time we are verifying from database. We are verifying from database. So this is all the back-end work you have to do actually, right? And this is not simply Angular. This requires a lot of knowledge in back-end technology. That means you need to be very perfect in your databases, server-side scripting, APIs. Then only you can handle this kind of interface. Here, however, I given a simple overview of this. Even you can practice this because database you can easily create. Server-side logic is a simple JavaScript program. You have to just run it and you will get the API running. Now you can see here. Now what is the point? Now user must able to register. Any another user cannot log in. Any another user cannot log in. No chance. Only the registered user. Okay, we will do one thing. We will register one more user here. In the database, we will create one more user. Add insert document. I am creating another one. What is it? So user ID. User ID is suppose I am giving some Raj _ Angular something, and username is Raj. Okay, that is the username. And what is his password? So password I given as some Raj @11. Okay, what is his email? So some email, some Raj @gmail or some outlook.com something. And what is his mobile? So it is like +91 something 9987654321 something. Now I click on insert. Another person registered, that is Raj Angular with Raj11 password. Let's log in. Now I am using Raj _ Angular and some wrong password I entered invalid. So Raj _ Angular and his password is Raj @11. That is the password for him. And I click on login, it should get. But we don't do directly in the database. Now what we will do, anybody wants to register, we will give a form. Then we will say that you don't have account, registered. Now we need to create a registration form. What this registration form have to do? This registration form have to collect the data from us and it should push into the database. That means now you need to write some server-side logic for that. Right? Server-side logic for connecting the database, accessing the data, inserting into the database. Then we can design a registration form for that, right? This is technically working with backend database now. Now, for that, actually, let's stop this API. We need to go to server.js, and here some more techniques we have to do. If you are writing GET request, it is okay, no problem. But if you are writing POST request, whatever data is posted from your Angular application, we need to collect the data, convert the data into JSON and send it into the database. For that, actually Node.js uses so express.url encoded, it sets extended to true. Actually, this is used to collect the data coming from URL. That means posted from any URL, data posted from any external URL, we can collect. For that, in Node.js, we have to define URL encoded extended true. This allows you to post the data from any application. After posting the data, whatever data comes, we need to convert the data into JSON in order to send into database. So app.use express.json, we have to write this. That means we are collecting the data from another URL, converting the data into JSON. After that, we need to post it. That means we need to create an API method called post. We created API method called get. So get is for fetching, post is for submitting, put is for modifying, and delete is for removing. API methods are created. What is the post method? Slash, I will give register customer. That is the method name. Okay. We use a request and a response. Now what we have to do is we need to connect with the database. We need to connect with the database, collect the data coming from the form. First, we will collect the data coming from form. How to collect the data coming from form? We will collect customer data. How to collect? What customer data we are expecting? We are expecting user ID. From where to collect it? You learned in HTML, data can be submitted from client side through a form on get request and post request. On get request, if I submit, where data will be? On get request, if I submit, it will be in URL. Data will be in URL as query string. On post, if I submit, where the data will be? It is in the form body. Then what you have to do is, we have to request the body. From the form body, you have to access user ID. That means we are collecting the data posted by your application, right? And similarly, user name, it is also coming from request.body. What is it? Username. Another one is password. What is it? Request.body. What is it? Password. What is the next one? Email. Request.body, that is email. Another one, what is it? Mobile. Mobile is what? Request.body, that is what? Mobile. Now the data we collected from the client side application, we need to submit to database. We have to connect. Mongo client.connect. Connect with MongoDB is MongoDB:127.0.0.127.017. We are connecting with MongoDB, and if there is an error and a client object, so we will write if there is no error. That means if there is no error in the connection, we will collect the database. Database is equal to client object DB. Database is what? Shopping. Now database dot collection. What is the table name? Customers. Into the customers, we need to insert a record. Then we have to use insert one. To read the records, we need find. To insert record, we need insert one. And what is the data to be inserted? Customer. That is the data we need to insert. That means whatever the customer detail we created, we have to insert that into database. And it will use an error and a result. And here we will simply use, if there is no error, then it will simply put a message console.log. So record inserted. This message we will give. After inserting the record, response.redirect, it can redirect to /customers. That means it will go back to customers and show the newly inserted record. This is how we write the query for inserting. Remember, it changes according to your server side technology, according to your database. Because you are using MySQL, SQL server like databases, then the query will be insert into table values fields. You know how SQL queries are written. This is ready. Now we have a method for post also ready. Get method is ready, post method is ready. Now we need to create. Let's start this now. The post method is also ready. Now what we have to do, let's go to API data service. Here we need another method. What is the method? Public. This is register customer. Okay. What register customer is expecting? It is expecting a customer detail which is of any type. Okay. Whatever data they send into this data we need to post into API. That means what we have to do, return this dot HTTP, this time post method. This time post method. And what is the data? Where to post the data? We have to define the URL. What is the URL to post the data? http:// what is it? Localhost, in that 3000, in that slash, what is the method? Register customer. Into that we need to send the data and comma the data. Whatever data you need to send. Data is coming from customer. That customer data we will send. That means you have to call this method. You have to call the method, and you need to post this data into the method. This data will be collected by your API and it will be inserted into the database. So we have a method for server side API. Okay, post method is ready. Now how to submit? We need to design a registration form. From registration form, we have to collect the data and send the data here. Then how do we do that? That means how we can manage that now. So how to handle that? Actually, this is also what type? Observable type. Observable. What kind of data is coming? Any. We are using any kind of data. So here we are not fetching, we are posting. Understood? We are not fetching, we are posting the data. So now what we will do here is, let's go to the page. We will create a registration form. To create a registration form, you better give a component like register user. You can create a component. So as of now, suppose I'm adding a component here. Yeah. So what is the component? ng generate component shopper register skip test. So this is register component I created, and this also we have to keep in the URL. That means in app routing module we need to add one more path. This path is what? This is register. Which component to deliver? We have to get shopper register component to deliver. Okay. Now what we will do? We will go to the login component, shopper login component HTML, and here I will create a button. I will say new user register. Okay. And this I will give as button, or we can keep as link, because link is enough to navigate now. We can keep this as a link, and what it should do, router link / which one? Register. That means when user clicks on that new user register and I click on that, it will go to register form. Now here we need to design a form which can submit data into database. After submitting, it will go to login. That means designing form already you know, that is not a new work for you. How to collect the data from form also you know. Form, you use any kind of form you want. I will use FRM what? Register. It is using what? ng form. And in this I will simply put data list, data term, user ID first. User ID we will keep input type is equal to text. And here we will put ng model and hash user ID is equal to ng model, and we need name. Name is what? User ID. Another data term, this is user name. Username again input type is equal to text, and the name is username, and ng model and hash username is equal to ng model. Same what data is expected by your database, right? Then what? Password. Another input type is equal to password, and name is password and ng model and hash password is equal to ng model. One more, we need email. So another data definition, input type is equal to what? Text. So name is equal to email. You can put all the validations also you want, right? Hash. So email is equal to ng model. ng model. Okay. One more last here we have mobile. And what is the data definition? Input type is equal to text and the name is equal to mobile and ng model hash mobile is equal to ng model. Now we need one button here. So register. On this register button, so we will write class btn and btn primary. On this register button, we need to write a submit. On submit, we write register click. On register click, let's go to the TS file. We have to write a method public register click. On register click, we are expecting data coming from the form. That means here we are expecting which detail? Customer detail. Am I right? It is what type? Any. From the form, we need to send all the customer detail. That customer detail is nothing but it is FRM register dot what? Value. It contains field names and value. It is an object now. The same object we are expecting. Now what we need to do? We need to post this into our API service. Let's inject private API. It is API data service. We need private. Another one is router. Router, it is of what type? Router. Okay. And here we need to write a simple logic. This dot API dot, there is an option called register customer. Into the register customer, we are expecting customer details. We will pass the customer. After that, you have to just put a subscribe method. That's it. It is going to post the data and execute. And here we will put an alert. Suppose I say registered successfully. This alert I will give. And after that, we will use this dot router dot navigate. Router dot navigate. It's not. It is imported from router express. Sorry. This is from where? Angular router. Right. Because actually express is also having a router, server side routing also there. Router dot navigate. Navigate to which location? After registered successfully, it should navigate to login. It should navigate to login. We are defining that. Now let's see here. I'm having a registration form. That means here we will enter the detail user ID. User ID, I entered some user ID. Like we can even write already two users are there, John and Raj. I'm just using another user ID, some David underscore some NG. Okay. That is the user ID. Username is David and password is some David @123. That is the password. Email is some David Gmail and mobile is some mobile. I'm adding some mobile, some 11 something. Now I click on register. On register, it should pop some registered successful and click on OK. It should go to login. Let's go to our database and here refresh and see. Now third record is also added here into the database. Now user registered successfully. He can log in now, right? What is his user ID? David underscore NG. Password I given wrong. Then it says it should verify now. What is that? Some password. David @123. It's okay, fine, right? I'm using here David. So underscore David underscore what ng, and the password is David at the net what 123, and login. It should get that and display. This user is also registered successfully and it is working here. Right? That means we are creating database. We are adding data into database. We are accessing the data from the database and we are verifying. That means complete end-to-end concept is working here from registration to login. Right? Like this, to perform all kinds of CRUD operation, you need to be very strong in your server side. You need to know how to write put methods, delete methods. You need to know your database logic first. You need to know your database programming first. Because how you have to communicate with your database, delete command, update command, if it is in SQL, these all are important. Right? But this is one example to make you understand a complete end-to-end integration. That means we created our own APIs. This entire application I will upload now into class. That API also, server side logic, what we created. Only extra you have to do is you need to create a database. Right? API logic, and this I will give to you. This is complete end-to-end. Now we will see another option, how lazy loading works. There is a concept called lazy loading routes, and how we can deploy this to cloud now. That means we can make this live. It can go live and you can start using live. Anybody can access from anywhere. You can deploy on GitHub. You can deploy on Firebase, AWS, Azure. Different cloud accounts are there. We will see how the deployment will happen. Right? That we'll see in tomorrow's session. Right? Tomorrow we'll continue with that. Okay? Tomorrow we will see how we can handle lazy loading. We will see how the deployment testing happens in the Angular application. Okay? Actually, tomorrow, after tomorrow, our next session will be on Saturday. We will have Saturday, Sunday session also. With that, we will close the sessions. Right? Our last session will be on Saturday and Sunday. After tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and Friday and Saturday, Thursday and Friday, you don't have session. Again, our session will be on Saturday. On Saturday, we will discuss some more, like material, NGRX, like some advanced topics are there. We will discuss about them. That with that, you can finish all the Angular part. Okay. Tomorrow we'll continue, right? Yeah. Hmm.